Most women grow up thinking that the way to attract a man is to be nice, sweet, and agreeable. They're told to compliment him, laugh at his jokes, and make him feel important. And yes, men love to feel appreciated. But here's the secret most women never heard if you want a man to remember you. If you want him thinking about you later, smiling to himself and wondering what it would be like to see you again, you need more than sweetness. You need to add a spark. That spark is playfully teasing him. They're playfully teasing a man is not about putting him down or being mean. It's about adding a little playful challenge to the interaction. It's letting him know you're interested without handing him your attention on a silver platter. It's about creating a dynamic where he's leaning toward you, intrigued, wanting more. Realize there, a man who's only complimented and agreed with will enjoy the attention, but it won't necessarily stand out to him. But a man who's been teased, just enough to feel challenged, will remember you as the woman who made him feel alive in the conversation. The thing about teasing is it flips the usual script. That most women think they have to prove they're worthy of his attention. Teasing shows that you know he should be proving himself to you. It communicates confidence without arrogance. Realize that men find that incredibly attractive because it tells them you have standards, you have self-respect, and you're not going to melt for just anyone. But here's the first rule of playful teasing. It has to come from warmth. If there's no warmth behind your words, no smile, no light in your eyes, teasing can come off as criticism. There you want him laughing with you, not feeling attacked. That's why your delivery matters just as much as the words. A cheeky grin, a raised eyebrow, a playful tone. These tell him you're joking, that they're inviting him into a fun little game, not trying to win an argument. Let's say he's talking about how good he is at cooking. You could smirk and say, oh, so you're basically the next Gordon Ramsay. Should I start calling you chef now? This work because it's an exaggeration? You're not saying he's lying. You're just poking fun in a way that invites him to prove himself. Or maybe he tells you he's great at a sport. You could laugh and say, ooh-ha. I'm sure you're amazing. Realize that there, but I'll believe it when I see it. Again, you're not tearing him down. You're giving him something to play back with. One of the most powerful ways to tease is to exaggerate small things he says or does. If he takes a while to answer a question, you could say, wow, you're really thinking hard about that. Are you writing me a novel? If he shows up with a particular drink, you might grin and say, that's it. That's your big drink order. I thought I was dealing with a man of mystery here. These kinds of comments create a shared moment of humor while giving him a little nudge to open up more. Realize that there and don't underestimate the role of body language. A teasing comment with a deadpan face might come off as sarcasm, but the same comment with a playful smile or a subtle lean in becomes flirtatious. Playful teasing is as much about how you say it as what you say. Sometimes you can tease without words at all, just with a look. If he says something mildly cocky, you can raise your eyebrow and tilt your head as if to say, without speaking. They realize there that look alone can make him laugh and feel the spark. Now let's talk about the types of teasing lines you can keep in your back pocket. Realize that these aren't meant to be memorized scripts. They work best when they come out naturally in response to something he said or done in. Wow, someone's confident. You've been practicing that line, haven't you? That's cute. You think you can keep up with me. Careful. Realize that you're starting to sound like you're flirting with me. Oh, you're trouble. I can tell already. These lines work because they're light-hearted and they open the door for him to respond. A good tease invites banter. It's a ball you toss to him, waiting for him to toss it back. When he does, you're in a rhythm. You're not just talking. You're playing and is the foundation of chemistry. Another thing to remember, they realize that their teasing isn't just about making him laugh, it's about creating tension. Every time you challenge him, even lightly, you're sparking a tiny bit of that competitive energy men naturally have. He wants to prove himself to you. He wants to rise to the challenge. And when you occasionally pull him back in with a smile, a compliment, or a touch, you're rewarding him in a way that keeps him hooked. Now that you understand the basics of playful teasing and how to deliver with warmth, it's time to take things up a notch with push-pull dynamics. Push-pull is the heartbeat of attraction when it comes to flirting. It's the act of giving him a little dose of attention and validation, the pull, and then playfully challenging or teasing him, the push. The alternation between those two creates an addictive rhythm that keeps him engaged. Why does push-pull work so well on men? Because men love the thrill of pursuit, but they also want to feel chosen. If you only pull by giving him compliments and agreeing with everything he says, you remove the challenge. On the flip side, if you only push by teasing without warmth, it can feel like you're disinterested or even dismissive. The magic happens when you balance both. It's the verbal equivalent of leaning in close and then stepping back with a smile. He's drawn in, then playfully kept on his toes. Here's an example. He tells you he's good at cooking. Realize there, you could respond with, really, I can't picture you in an apron, but if you can make a pasta that's actually edible, I might just be impressed. That's a push. You're challenging him, followed by a pull, giving him the chance to impress you. Or if he jokes about beating you at a game, you might say, you wish, but I'll admit you look like you'd be competitive. That little compliment softens the challenge and makes him feel good while still keeping it playful. Another powerful teasing tool is the inside jokes create a feeling of intimacy because they're a shared secret between the two of you. If you can turn something he says or does into a playful thing you reference later, you've given yourself a built-in flirtation tool that works every time. That, let's say early in your conversation, he mentions once got lost in his own neighborhood. Later, if he says something confidently, you can smirk and say, wow. They're bold words for someone who gets lost 2 blocks from home. It's harmless, funny, and personal. Every time you bring it up, it reminds him of your connection. Now, let's talk about flirty but classy teasing lines that spark attraction without crossing into vulgarity. You're dangerous, but I can tell already. You talk a big game. I'm not convinced yet. I think you just want me to notice that's cute. You think I'm going to believe that. Is this your way of trying to impress me? Bold move. Don't give me that look your trouble when you smile like that. These lines work because they mix a touch of challenge with an undercurrent of flirtation. You're not just joking. You're hinting that you see him as attractive, but you're not going to make it too easy for him. That mix is irresistible. Look at you like a catalog model for I swear I'm adventurous. Or if he's telling you about his gym routine, you might smirk and say, so you're basically a superhero in disguise there, right? It's a way to make him feel good while still keeping it light and flirty. One thing to keep in mind, men love to feel like they're making you react. If he says something intentionally provocative or teases you first, don't just brush it off, play with it. You could act mock, offended, put your hand on your chest and gasp dramatically there, or say something like, oh, you're going to regret that. This signals that you're game for the banter and keeps the energy alive. And here's a subtle trick there, tease him about his effect on you. If he's making you laugh, you could say, stop, you make it really hard to stay mysterious right now. Or if he's looking at you a certain way, you could murmur, that's not fair. You can't look at me like that in public. These lines hit differently because they're playful, but also hint a deeper attraction. Realize that which makes them linger in his mind. By now, you can see that teasing isn't about insulting or proving you're smarter. It's about creating a space where he feels challenged, desired, and curious all at once. That's why the best teasers are the ones who can mix humor with subtle affection. One of the easiest ways to tease a man without overthinking is to use environmental teasing, basing your playful comments on what's happening in the moment. This makes your flirting feel spontaneous and unique to your interaction. It doesn't sound like something you've said to 5 other guys. It sounds fresh because it's tied to the shared experience you're both having right now. For example, if you're at a coffee shop and he orders something elaborate, you could grin and say, wow, I didn't know I was hanging out with a coffee diver. If you're walking somewhere together and he's walking a bit ahead, you could tease, oh, okay, just leave me behind. Guess I'll catch up in the next city. If you're both watching a movie trailer and he reacts dramatically, you might smirk. Remind me not to take you to a horror movie. You'd probably hide behind me. These kinds of lines do 2 things. They're light and observational there, and they turn ordinary moments into private jokes. The more private jokes you create with him, the more he'll start to associate you with fun, warmth, and attraction. That's why environmental teasing is so powerful. It's not just words, it's shared memories being built in real time. Next, let's talk about role play banter. Men secretly love when a woman invites them into a playful, pretend scenario because it opens the door for exaggerated, flirtatious behavior without the pressure of it being serious. Realize there, for example, if he challenges something you said, you could respond, oh, I see, so you're my debate opponent now. Fine, let's settle this. Winner gets bragging rights for life. Or if he says something overly confident, you might say, all right, Mr. Charming, I see what you're doing. Should I be taking notes? Role play works because it lets both of you step into characters that exaggerate your personalities. If he plays along, you can bounce the energy back and forth for minutes at a time, creating a playful world the two of you share. There, maybe you jokingly declare him your sworn enemy after he beats you at a game, or you pretend he's applying for the role of official taster tester for your cooking. The more vivid you make it, the more it sticks in his mind. Now, let's get into something I call reaction hooks, little responses or behaviors that encourage him to keep chasing the conversation. Their reaction hooks aren't about starting the tease. They're about what you do after he says something. They're small, but they make a big impact. One hook is the mock gasp, placing your hand over your mouth, widening your eyes and saying, "Oh my God, did you just say that?" It makes him feel like he's gotten a big reaction from you, which makes him want to keep going. Another is the slow smile, where you pause for a moment after he says something, tilt your head and smile like you're plotting a comeback. This builds anticipation and makes him curious about what you'll say next. There's also the playful dare. If he makes a bold claim, you can challenge him, prove it. Those two words alone create instant tension because now you've set up a challenge he feels compelled to rise to. Men are wired to want to demonstrate value, and a playful dare is the perfect excuse for him to do exactly that. Here's a set of reaction-based teasing lines you can mix into your conversations. They're whoa, bold words for someone I just met. You, huh? And do you always believe your own hype? You know, I was going to be nice to you, but you're making it really hard. Oh, you're good, but I'm better. Careful. Or I'll start thinking you're actually charming. When you combine environmental teasing, role play, and reaction hooks, you're making the interaction feel alive. He's not just answering questions. He's engaged in a playful tug of war with you. Every comment you make gives him a reason to respond, and every reaction you give makes him want to see what you'll do next. That's what keeps the energy flowing. And here's the real beauty. Teasing him this way doesn't just create attraction, it makes him invest. When a man is playfully defending himself, proving himself, or trying to get you to admit something, he's putting effort into the interaction. Effort builds attachment. The more effort he puts in while having fun with you, the more he starts to associate you with excitement and challenge. By now, you've learned how to playfully tease a man without being mean, how to use push-pull dynamics to keep him hooked, how to create inside jokes that become your private language. They realize that and how to use environmental teasing, role play, and reaction hooks to make every conversation sparkle. But the final step, the one that makes all of this truly unforgettable, is learning how to escalate playful energy into deeper attraction and close the interaction in a way that sticks in his mind long after you're gone. First, you need to understand why escalation matters. Teasing is like lighting a fire. It sparks attraction. But if you leave it at that, the fire can fade when you walk away. Escalation is like adding kindling. It gives the attraction something to grow into. This doesn't mean you suddenly get serious or start pouring your heart out. It means you strategically mix moments of warmth, interest, and genuine connection into the teasing. Here's how. After a round of playful banter, drop in a real compliment, but make it feel earned. For example, if you've been teasing him about being competitive and he tells a funny story about a time he lost, you could say, "Okay, I have to admit, realize it there. I like that you can laugh at yourself. That's genuine and it's layered on top of the playful vibe you've already built." Or if you've been joking about him showing off, you could smile and say, "Well, it's working. I'm a little impressed." Those moments of sincerity hit harder because they're rare and unexpected. Next, when they realize, let's talk about tease anchors. These are callbacks to earlier playful moments that you use right before leaving. Tease anchors work because they make him remember the fun you've had together and associate it with you. Let's say earlier in the conversation you teased him about his coffee order being high maintenance. As you're leaving, you could say, "All right, Mr. High Maintenance, try not miss me too much." Or if you teased him about being trouble, you could grin and say, "By trouble, don't cause too much chaos without me." Tease anchors feel personal and make him replay the interaction in his head, keeping the attraction alive there. You can also use playful future pacing to suggest more interactions without being needy. This is when you paint a lighthearted picture of the two of you doing something together in the future, tied to your teasing. For example, if we ever played pool together, I'd destroy you, just saying, "One day that I'm going to let you cook for Meg, but only if you sign a waiver first. I'm taking you to a trivia night so I can prove once and for all who's smarter. The beauty of this technique is that it plants the idea of seeing you again in a fun, low pressure way. It's not, can I see you? It's, we should obviously do this hilarious thing. That subtle shift makes you more memorable and makes the idea of seeing you again feel exciting instead of obligatory. Another advanced move is knowing when to drop the volume and slow your delivery. Throughout most of your playful teasing, the energy is light, quick, and upbeat there. But when you want to make an interaction more intimate, lowering your voice and speaking slower forces him to lean in, literally and emotionally. You might use this to deliver a softer tease. Like, you're troublet, but I think I like it. Holding his gaze just a little longer. That pause and eye contact adds a layer of tension that plain words can't achieve. Now, here are my top closer teasing lines that leave a lasting impression. I'll let you practice your charm, and maybe I'll let you use it on me next time. You've officially my don't ruin it now. I have to go before you get me into real trouble. I'm still deciding if you're good or bad for me or bag, but I guess I'll find out. Keep working on that story. You've got potential. And these lines do three things, Saul. That they keep the frame playful, they leave him with something to think about, and they give him an open loop he'll want to close by seeing you again. Finally, let's address an important skill. Reading the moment. Not every man responds to teasing the same way. Some will dive right into the banter, others will warm up slowly. Pay attention to his cues. If he's matching your energy, they're leaning in and teasing back, you can push a little further. If he's quieter or seems unsure, soften the teasing and focus on building comfort until he's ready to play. The best flirts know how to adjust without losing the vibe. Here's the big takeaway: playful teasing is not about being clever for the sake of it. It's about creating emotional movement. It's about taking him on a mini roller coaster where one moment you're challenging him, the next you're pulling closer. That's what makes it addictive. A man might forget a compliment there, but he won't forget how you made him feel when you teased him in just the right way. So the next time you're talking to a man you like, don't just nod along and hope he notices you. They give him a smile that says, I see you. Tease him about his coffee order, his perfect hair, his overly confident stories. Make him prove himself and then reward him with warmth. Leave him with a tease anchor, a playful challenge or a smirk he can't get out of his head, and walk away knowing that while other women might be nice, you're unforgettable. Realize that because the truth is the women men member aren't the ones who gave the most compliments. They're the ones who made them feel. They're the ones who could make them laugh, think, realize and want all in the same conversation. And if you can master playful teasing, you'll be one of them.